So in the previous class, we have seen like how we can proceed with the layout designing, and then before proceeding with the layout design, we should be knowing the stick diagram. Okay, so in that stick diagram only, we have another point like how we can start with the stick diagram. So before going with the stick diagram, we should be knowing one concept that is called Euler's path. So or we call it Euler's rule. Okay, so while going for stick diagram representation, suppose we have a complex logic, that is this one. If any function is given that like z is equals to a d plus e bracket plus bc whole bracket. So this we need to implement by using CMOS circuit. So for implementing the CMOS circuit, we will be considering uh, each pull down network and pull up networks. Okay, so if there are 5 different inputs are there, so 5 different transistors are required to implement each logic input. Okay, so for the pull down network, if it is d plus e, so d plus e will be similar to the NOR representation. So D and E will be in parallel. Similarly, D and E is with respect to AND of A. So it will be this A will be in series with D and E, that is in parallel. And similarly, the whole this term is with plus sign with the BC. So BC is with respect to the AND logic. So it will be in the series B and C, and this B and C, the whole circuit, and this representation, B, these two will be in parallel. So this is how the pull down networks can be implemented. Okay, so once we have implemented the pull down networks, uh, we will be going to implement the pull up network. Okay, so this pull up network will be just dual or opposite of the pull down network. Okay, so once we have implemented the pull down network, similarly we can implement the pull up network. So suppose this is the implementation in the form of CMOS representation of this example. So before going for uh, your stick diagram representation, so before going for implementation of this stick diagram of this circuit, what we will do is we will just uh, consider different inputs. So different inputs with respect to different order. So suppose this is the random sequence that we have generated. So in that case, suppose if we consider this, so like how the inputs are represented. So Euler's formula says like if we are going to design the stick diagram of any circuit, the naming of the variables, the naming this like A and B, the C, D and E, so these are the inputs. Okay, so Euler's path says like the naming of the variables. Okay, the naming of the variables, or we call it the input variables, the naming of the input variables should follow the similar path in both pull up network, this is pull up network, and this is pull down network. So whatever order of the inputs are there into the pull up network, the similar order should be followed into the pull down network. So what is the order is like if we consider in the clockwise direction. Okay, suppose this is the clockwise direction. So in clockwise direction, it is A, starting with A, it is A. So we can write here like after simplification, we can write it A, D, E, C, and B. So A, D, E, C, and B is the way that we have assigned the inputs. Okay, so we can see, like, if we consider the clockwise path, it will be A. So the pattern will be A, D, E, then again like this path, and this here from this path. Okay, this one, then again from here this one, and then goes to this one again. So A, D, E, then C, and then B. So this is the pattern into the pull-up network. Okay, so in the pull-up network, that will be the pattern. Similarly, if we consider the pull-down network, so just we can represent it. So it will be like A will be here, and then this is B and C, and in between this A, we have in D and E parallel with series, that is will be in series with A. So it is, if we find out the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, suppose we are going to consider the clockwise. Okay, so it is like A, B, C, E, and D are there, or A, B, C, D, and then E. Okay, similar this pattern we can write like A, B, C, D, E. This is just the random sequence that we have got. Once we are going to designing, once we are going to design, we don't consider the pattern of inputs, like in what order the inputs should be there. Okay, but Euler's path says, like, whatever path or whatever pattern is followed into the pull-up network, the same pattern will be followed into the pull-down network also. So this will give us efficient layout design. Okay, so we will see with this example like how it can be providing us efficient layout design. Okay, so in the layout design, so just we will recap, like in the layout design, our main motive is to minimize the area. So we need to minimize the area. So we need to minimize area, and also we need to minimize the parasitics. What is parasitics? So here parasitic means resistance, capacitance, and inductors. So once we are going to design a layout, so area is there. Once we will be considering, or we will be representing this area, it will be in the form of R, L, and C components. So this layers, or whatever chips we see, different plates are there. That plates will be working with respect to the concept of RLC components. So if we are going to use larger layers or different layers with different ordering, so with respect to the orders, what in what layer method, in what order we are going to use different layers, and what is the size of the different layers, what is the gap between two layers, that will be defining their equivalent RLC components, and these RLC components will be considered for the evaluation, for the you can say evaluation or circuit performance. So circuit performance will be with respect to these RLC components only. So we should be minimizing the parasitic, so that minimum number of RLC components. Basically here we will be considering the capacitance only. So here minimum number of capacitance can be generated by the layout design. So we should be minimizing the parasitics. Okay, so the layout main motive of this layout design is basically to minimize area, and along with that we should be minimizing the parasitics. We should be minimizing the interconnects also. Third one, minimize the interconnects. Okay, so these are the methods that we should be minimizing. Okay, so here the Euler's path is saying like the order of inputs should be same in case of pull down network and pull up network. But suppose we are not considering this Euler's path, we are just randomly designing the stack diagram, then we'll see like what happens once we are randomly checking going for the designing of a stick diagram. So suppose this is the CMOS implementation. If we are going to proceed with the stick diagram representation, what we will do is, for a stick diagram we will be considering VDD, that will be by blue layer. Okay, so we'll just be selecting, like we will take a blue line that will be for VDD. Similarly, for ground, another blue line, and one green line for the N diffusion. Okay, and another brown line, or we can call it yellow line, that will be for P diffusion. So all the PMOS will be considered here, and all the NMOS will be considered here. So suppose we are randomly selecting, we are not following the Euler's path, and if we are going for random design of our stick diagram, then the design of stick diagram will be looking like this. So suppose the first design that we considered here is A input is there. So with respect to different inputs, suppose A input is there, E input is there, B input is there, D input is there, and C input is there. So for designing, what we consider is, we should be considering like which terms or which terminals are common. So suppose this is your drain, this is source, and this is drain of this one, and this is drain of this one, this is source. So this is drain, this is source, this is source, this is drain. Similarly, this is drain, and this is source, this one drain, source, drain, source, and drain. Okay, so the basic rule that in the previous class we have seen is like, whatever is common, we will be considering that first. So suppose here, uh, if in this case B and C having S common, the source is common to this, so we will be considering B and C together. So we should be considering B and C together. But suppose we are not considering that, we are randomly selecting any inputs with respect to any order. Okay, so suppose the order that we have gone through is like, the first is A, E, B, and T, and C. So once we are selecting any order of the input, and we are going for stick diagram representation, we will see like this will be our stick diagram. Okay, so we can see like, if A is there and E is there, so in A and E, in case of NMOS transistor, A and E is there. So in A and E, this drain of this E and source of A is connected. So here you can see the source of A and drain of E is connected. Okay, similarly, if all other connections are not in that way, if all other connections we need to make, then we will be using wire. So this is the wire. To make all the connections, we are using wires. So this is the stick diagram that will be without following the Euler's rule. So we have just randomly selected any order of the input, and we have designed the stick diagram. Okay, so you are comfortable with this design of stick diagram? Okay, so here this is your polysilicon. This is your polysilicon representing the gates. Okay, so, and these are the you can say green lines. They are just, these are just green lines. Okay, so the complete, this one is a green line. So it is, and N diffusion. So N diffusion is represented by the blocks here. The blocks, the complete block is being represented, is designed to represent the N diffusion. Similarly, this one, the above one is, this one complete one is P diffusion. So in P diffusion, PMOS will be presented. So it is here, it is A MOS is there, this is E MOS here, having E as input. Here B1 is there, this one is D, and this is C. Similarly, in case of NMOS, so this is A NMOS, here is E NMOS, here is B NMOS, and this is D, and this is C. So this is like, suppose this is D NMOS, E NMOS, and A NMOS. Similarly, this is how it has been designed. So at the final one, we consider it like output is connected to the drain of B and C. So in the layout, we will see in the PMOS, where is B? B is here. So okay, so this is B. So the drain of B, so drain of B, this terminal is connected to the output. Okay, so this is output terminal. So this drain is connected to output terminal, and also along with B we have C, the drain of C. So C is here, So this is C, drain of C. This is drain of C is connected to output. Okay. Similarly, the drain of A and drain of B in the NMOS case, we are connected to the output. So we will see in the output case, output connected to drain of A. So drain of A, this one is connected to your output terminal. Okay. Similarly, B, the drain of B is connected to the output terminal. Okay. So this is how the connections will be made. So whenever there is a two different layers crossing each other, if it is a connection, then we should be having a black circle. Okay, this black circle will be representing the connections. So if it is there is no black circle is there, that means these two layers are passing by one another, but there is no connection. Okay, one layer is on the another layer. Okay, so one another layer on another layer will not be considered as a connection. Okay. So this is how we will be connecting. So VDD is connected here and ground will be connected. Okay, so ground is connected to the source of E and source of D and C. So that will be with respect to the design. Okay, so this is the stick diagram when we have not considered the Euler's formula. So now we will see what will be the effect of the Euler's formula if we are going to design. So in the earlier figure, the stick diagram of the layout is the first attempt. First attempt means we have randomly went for designing the stick diagram by using arbitrary ordering of the polysilicon gate column here. Okay, so we are just considering an arbitrary polysilicon gate column, and with respect to that, we will be considering all other connections. Okay, so if we can minimize the number of here, we can see like why we are going for Euler's formula. So if we can minimize the number of diffusion area breaks both NMOS and PMOS transistors, the separation between polysilicon gate columns can be made smaller. Okay, so if we are going to minimize the number of diffusion breaks, how many diffusion breaks are there? There are different diffusion layers are there, like these are the different diffusion breaks. So these are the breaks diffusion, these are the diffusion region. Here breaks are there, here is a break between diffusion layer, here is a break, and here is also a break. Whenever there will be a large number of breaks between the diffusion layers, it will be having requirement of large number of metal for interconnections. Okay, so which will be minimizing the number of breaks. Okay, uh, which will reduce the overall horizontal dimensions and hence the circle layout. So once we are minimizing this breaks, then it will be minimizing the horizontal width. So suppose this is the width required for the designing of the layout. Okay, so once we are minimizing this area, the horizontal width will be reduced. Okay, so we should be reducing it by reducing the number of breaks available into the diffusion region. Okay, the number of diffusion breaks can minimize by changing the ordering of the polysilicon column. Okay, so here the polysilicon columns we have randomly selected. Okay, A, E, B, D, and C. So once we are going to select this ordering by a particular method, we can minimize this breaks. Okay, that will be minimizing the parasitic capacitances. Okay, so in the Euler's uh, method, that is Euler's rule, or we call it Euler's path, we will develop or we will find a common path that will be defining the similar pattern into the NMOS, or you can say pull down network, or into the pull up network. Okay, so in the pull down network, that will be considered as the NMOS network. Okay, so into the NMOS network, suppose we have considered the order of A, B, C, D, and E. So starting with the X, that is going okay to A, this B, C, and then D and E. So there is a fixed pattern of path, like with the X starting with, and it is following the path this way, or in the opposite way, it will be like E, D, C, B, A. So E, D, uh, E, D, again it is starting with this one. This path is starting with this here. So E is there, then D is there, then E is there, B and C. So E, D, A, B, C. This is the path into the NMOS network. Okay, that is pull down network. So this is pull down network. So in pull down network, this is pull down network PDN. Okay, so into the pull down network, it is having the following the path E, D, A, B, C. Similarly, we have to follow in the PMOS network as well. So in the this was the PMOS network that we have considered. So in that also we will be considering the similar path. So it is like uh, E, then D, A, then again B and C. If this will be our representation, so then this will be an optimized one. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, so E, then A, E, D, A, B, C. If this is the path, then it will be giving you the optimized layout. Okay, so in this figure, we will be finding the common Euler's path, and that common Euler's path will be following both into the pull-down network and the pull-up network. That is network that is made of PMOS elements. Okay, so it is showing like starting with the X and ending at Y, the similar path is followed into the pull down network as well as the pull up network. Okay, so by using this path, we will be considering the design. So like it was E first, then D, then A, then B and C. So if we are following a fixed path in the upside, that is in the pull down network and pull up network, then we can see this is the new stick diagram. Okay, so this is the new stick diagram. We can see like there is no breaks are there into the diffusion region of n diffusion region, and into the p diffusion region also there is no breaks. Okay, so just we have minimized the number of breaks. Okay, so this will be minimizing the horizontal width that will be required for designing this layout. Along with that, we have minimum number of requirement of the connecting wires. So the connecting wires requirement is also reduced. Okay, so just you can compare this two. So this was the first one having large number of connecting wires, but in the new design, it is having the minimum number of paths required for designing the stick diagram. So the advantage of this new layout are it is like it is a more compact, that is a smaller layout area is there. It is having simple routing of the signal, so output is connected to these two terminals only. It is not having connected to all one. Okay, and the consequently less parasitic capacitances will be there. So as there are the smaller routing signals are required, or you can say connecting wires is less, then it will be having less parasitic capacitance. Okay, so this is how the Euler's path will be important for designing a complex, you can say, layouts. Okay, so this is not for, suppose if we are going for AND gate and basic gates. In that basic gates, there are two inputs are there only. So the ordering is that not that much important. Okay, because only two polysilicon layers will be there. Either of the order can be changed, there will be no effect. Okay, but in case of complex circuits, if it is having large number of inputs, then we should be following the Euler's path. Okay, so the Euler's path says like the order of the input, or the order of the input variables into the pull down network and the pull up network should be same to minimize the parasitic capacitances, or to minimize the connecting wires into the layout there. Okay, so we will see the next topic. Okay. Uh, so the next topic is the pass transistor. So this is basically a dynamic circuit. So till now in the third unit, we have seen the basic layout designing, like how what are the different design rules are there, layout design rules are there, and then how the layout is designed. And for layout designing, how the stick diagram will be helping the layout design, and in the stick diagram, what is the importance of Euler's path. Okay, so these are the different methods we should be following. So the next topic we will be dealing with is dynamic circuits. Okay, so In the second unit, we were basically considering the static characteristics of MOS circuits. Okay, so in case of inverter or 9-gate NOR gate, we were basically analyzing only the uh, static characteristics. So we were not considering the effect of capacitance or effect of time. But in this unit, we will be considering the dynamic circuits, where in the dynamic circuits, the output that we will be getting, how it is changing with respect to the capacitance variation, or how it will be changing with respect to the time, we will analyze that. So we will see like what is the difference basically, how the dynamic circuits are different from the static circuits. Okay, so we will see. Okay, if we go with the dynamic and static circuits, we will see. So the question is like, what is the advantage of dynamic circuits over static circuits? Suppose this is the question that is asked into the class, or asked into the exam, then answering the question. So in that case, we can give a difference, like what is the difference between, or advantage here is like what is the advantage of dynamic over the static, or the question could be like what is the difference between static and dynamic circuits. Okay, so difference between static and dynamic circuits. So we should be considering the dynamic circuits and the static circuits. We will see one by one. So the first point that we should be considering is, so in the dynamic, the output that will be decided is because of the uh, temporary storage of charge into the whatever load capacitance, or we call it the parasitic capacitances are there. Okay, so here the output will be decided. So in dynamic circuits, the output will be decided. The output will be decided by the temporary storage of charge, okay, on the parasitic capacitances. So in case of the dynamic circuit, the output will be decided with respect to the temporary storage of charge onto the parasitic capacitances, that is the load capacitance we have connect. There are load capacitance is there at the output terminal. So at the output terminal or output node, whatever capacitance is there, whatever charge is stored at that, will be giving you the state of the output. But in case of static circuits, it is based on the static or steady state value. Okay, so it is like temporary storage of charge onto the capacitor. But in case of static circuit, it will be decided by the static, or we call it steady state value, or steady state value. Okay, so in case of static circuits, it will be depending on the static or steady state value. So whatever the node voltage is there at the steady state, that will be considered in case of uh, the static circuits or steady state value. So in this case of dynamic circuits, as the output is considered to be the temporary storage of charge on the parasitic capacitance, that means it is a temporary storage, means after some time, after some time the storage, this capacitance, because it is not an ideal capacitance, this is parasitic capacitance, that will be a practical capacitance. So whatever charge is there onto the parasitic capacitances, it will be reducing, or the charge will be decaying with respect to time. As the time goes, the charge stored on a capacitor will reduce. Okay, so to have a correct value or correct node voltage or, no, or terminal voltage, output voltage, we should be frequently refreshing these dynamic circuits, so that after refreshing, whatever charge has been decayed from the actual value, that can be restored. Okay, so this dynamic circuits require refreshing, or you can say periodic refresh of the output nodes. Okay, so it is require, okay, it requires periodic refresh of nodes, or we call it output nodes. So from where the output voltage we are considering noting, we should be periodically refreshing the output nodes, so that whatever value we are supposed to have at the output node, that can be retained at any period of time. So once we are not using the refreshing, after a long time period, whatever charge is stored on the node terminal, that will get lost because of the leakage current. Okay, so because of the charge leakage, this node voltage will be minimized, or that node voltage can be zero, or can be reduced, so that we cannot get the correct output. So we require periodic replacement in case of dynamic circuits, but there is no refreshment is required in case of the static circuit. The output that is obtained after a certain delay, as it is in the steady state. So but in the dynamic circuits, whatever output we are getting is with respect to time, it will be uh, requiring it, it will be with respect to the whatever time we are requiring. But in the static circuit, the output will be fixed, and it will be obtained a certain delay of time. So it will be fixed output will be there, and that will be obtained after a particular after some delay, because it is a steady state value. So as it is a steady state value, that means once the steady state will be obtained, then only the output will be there, and that will not be having effect of this discharging. Okay, whatever output we have obtained, that will be remaining same, but that output will be obtained with some delay. That delay will be the time required to reach the steady state of the circuit, or steady state of the node, whatever node voltage we are considering. So the next we will be seeing is, so what is the difference? So in case of this, we call it the require, it requires periodic refreshment, or this periodic refreshment we can say like, this is periodic refreshment, or we call it clock refreshment. We call it clock refreshing. If clock, whatever clock is there, that clock is being refreshed, and with respect to that, the output will be changing. So clock refreshment, or we call it the periodic refreshment. So this refreshment will be generated by the clocks only. Okay. But once in this dynamic circuits we are going to use clocks, that means it will be giving you the synchronized output, because we are going to use the clock. The output will be a synchronized output. Okay, so synchronized output will be obtained in case of dynamic circuits, but in case of static circuits, the outputs will not be a synchronized one. Okay, so with respect to time is there, that's why it is having a synchronized output. And it will be behaving like a simple sequential circuit with a memory function. So whatever dynamic circuits are there, because we are going to use the clocks, these clocks will be giving you the output. Once we are going to change the, once you are going to once we are going to use the clock, we will be having a circuit that will behave like a memory. So in case of dynamic circuit, the dynamic circuit, because it is acting as a charge storage, it is going to use the charge uh, storage to provide you the output node voltages. So if charge storage is being used, then it will be behaving like a memory. It can work as a memory circuits. Okay, but this static circuit will not be considered as a memory circuit. Okay, so in the dynamic circuits, less number of transistors are used. Whatever transistors are there, if we are going to design a particular gate, suppose AND gate or a NAND gate, NOR gate, whatever gate we are going to design, these dynamic circuits will be requiring less number of transistors to design the same logic. Okay, but in case of static circuits, larger number of transistors are required to design the same logic. Okay, so that we will see later into the class, like how different circuits can be implemented by using the dynamic circuits. So with respect to the static circuit, we can compare like how many transistors are there into the static circuits and how many transistors are there into the dynamic circuit to design the same logic. Okay, and that will be clear with the uh, into the next classes that we will be dealing with. Another one is, once it is having less number of transistors, that means it will be having a smaller silicon area. So silicon area, or we call it the chip area. To implement the same logic, we can have the smaller chip area in case of dynamic circuits. Okay, but in case of uh, static circuits, it will be requiring larger chip area. Okay. Also, in case of power, if we consider, so in this case of power, generally these dynamic circuits are considered to have low power dissipation. Okay, so but in case of statics also, whatever concept we are using, if we are using the CMOS, it will be requiring the less power. Okay, but all other logics we will be using, then this static powers will be having static circuits will be having large power dissipation. So in case of dynamic, we will be requiring less power dissipation. So it depends on the applications or the logic that we have implemented. Okay, but generally the dynamic circuits will be requiring the less number of power dissipation. So these are the basic differences. We will be starting with the pass transistor logic. So into the pass transistor logic. So in dynamic circuits, we will be basically considering pass transistor transmission gate logic, and then the domino logic, Nora logic. There are different logics circuits that we will be using to design different logic gates. Okay, so with respect to the pass transistor, we will see like a pass transistor is a simple transistor is there. Okay, so as the name suggests, if it is a pass transistor, okay, so the name is like pass. That means a simple transistor will be there that will be behaving like a pass signal. Once it is pass means a simple transistor will be working as a switch like. Okay, so this is a transistor, this is NMOS transistor is there. If generally we say like whatever transistor is there, we should be connecting the input at the gate terminal, and we should be considering output at the drain terminal. Okay, so some load is there, and this is VDD. Here output is being considered. It is not always like this is the conventional way of designing the circuits, but there is the circuit, there is a logic that is called pass transistor logic. In this pass transistor logic, we can give input to any of the terminal, and we can take output from any of the terminal. Okay, so here the connections to the transistor terminals can be with respect to whatever desired requirement we are having. So in case of the transistor, basic conventional transistors, we generally not consider the input at drain and source, and we always connect input to the gate terminal. But here in the pass transistor logic, it will be just like complemented to CMOS. So this will be just a logic that will be complementary complementary to the CMOS, or CMOS, or we can say it is an alternative logic to the CMOS, where we will be requiring less number of transistors to design. So our motive, so as we have seen into the advantage part, like what is the advantage of dynamic circuits. So one of the advantages is we are requiring the less number of transistors for designing the same logic. Okay, so whatever logic we have used, whatever number of transistors we have used into the in case of CMOS transistor circuit design, in case of pass transistor logic, we will be requiring less number of transistors. So we will see like how it is going to reduce the number of transistors. Okay, and here in case of pass transistor, it will be provide you to give input to any terminal. So this is the basic AND gate. Sorry, this is the basic AND gate representation. So AND gate is a function f is given to be a into b. Okay, so we will be designing an AND gate by using pass transistor. So pass transistor is simple a transistor. Okay, so this is a transistor. If this is b and this is a, so this is your output. Okay, so if b is equals to 0, output equals to 0 will be there. If b is equals to 1, if b is 1, that means high, then a will be the output. Okay, so this is how the pass transistor is working. If it is on, whatever as it is at the input, it will be at the output. If it is off, it will not be passing anything, so it will be always connected to 0. Okay, it will output will be the same way. Whatever output was there, the previous output will be there, like a q, we call it the q, whatever previous output is there. Okay, so 0. So in case of not connected to anything, whatever previous output will be there, that will be the output. If b is 1, it will be passing the input, whatever input is connected to here, that will be passed to the output. Okay, so that's why it is a pass transistor. If it is on, it will just pass the input, whatever input will be there. So similar here, similar concept we can say like if we need to implement an AND gate, so it is implemented here. So if it is a and b is there, so if b is 0, it will be 0 multiplied by a. Okay, so if b is 1, so 1 multiplied by a will be here. Okay, so here this is the logic. Similar in the similar way, whatever analysis we have done here, the similar concept is implemented. So that will be implemented like a into b will be your output here. Okay, so one thing, once it is a into b, that will be implemented. But suppose if b is 0, but in this case, or if only we are considering this part only, if b is 0, at that time there was a disadvantage, like this output terminal will be supposed to be connected to nowhere. If it is 0, that means it is off. So if it is off means your output is connected with nowhere. It is a switch, but it is off. This is a b logic. Suppose it is b. If it is off, it is connected to nothing. Like your output is like a dangling one. It is just hanging without any connection. So at that time when b is 0, there is no output at the output. Okay, there is nothing at the output. So we will be requiring an alternate path. Okay, so in that alternate path, this is the alternate path. Okay, so when B is 0, at that time output should be 0. Okay, so we'll connect an alternate path, and that will be on only when your this transistor is off. If this is off when B is 0, then this transistor should be on when B is 0. So its complement will be given here, and when this is on, at that time output should be 0 because it is AND gate. So we will be connecting input as a 0. So when now there is no ambiguity, like if it is B is 0, if B is 0, this is off, so nothing will be there, no connection will be connected to here. But if B is 0, that will be on, and that once it is on, whatever input is there that is 0, that will be provided to the output. So output in this case will be your 0. Similarly, if B is 1, if B is 1, this will be 0, so it is off, but this is on. So once it is on, it will be A multiplied by B will be given by the output. So that is A multiplied by B, that is 1, is equals to A. So A will be your output. Okay, so this is how the implementation of AND gate can be done by using the pass transistor. And the use of this alternate path is just to avoid this ambiguity, like when B is 0, at that time there was nothing connected to the output, so we will be connecting an alternate path to implement this AND gate logic. Okay, so into the next class we will see the further how the NMOS sorry, this pass transistor and transmission gate are working. Its working is there, we will be seeing into the next class. Okay.